Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. I feel like we're in a pretty solid position here. You can see we've got a fair amount of land, we've got reasonable income in like a turn or two when we can turn taxation for this region on. It says we're at +5 public order here, but you'll note 5 points of that is because we have a military presence. When you have an army in a settlement, it increases public order in that region. But we are going to have to move Tiktaq'to's army out to Zandri, probably, and then from there out to push Firus. So we're not going to be able to rely on that public order boost. But provincial instability is going to fall every turn, corruption is going to fall every turn. In a couple of turns, we're totally going to be able to turn taxation back on in the Great Desert, and when we do that, we'll be making, yeah, like 2,500 gold per turn. That's not terrible for this point in the game. I noticed while I was setting up that Thagan's Errantry is sort of a big fan of the work we've been doing vis-a-vis the Skaven. So I'm wondering if we can maybe get a non-aggression pact going with them, get some kind of positive diplomacy happening, and then just let them guard our west flank while we push east and claim the rest of this good stuff. Like, we still want Khemri. Over here, the Black Period of Nagash is a single region province. And it has a big fancy pyramid with like a laser light show thing happening on the top of it. I want that. That seems cool. So let's see if they'll go for that. Let's see if we can make some friends here. Based on our heroic deeds. I'm not a... Look at my extremely nice mask. How do you think I'm a commoner? No. Bretonia weeps, but we cannot help you. Alright. I'm a little concerned that if we aren't able to... Notice we're getting a negative diplomatic modifier for war with the Knights of Origo. I'm a little concerned that if we can't make friends with Baron Thagan now, it's only going to get harder when we kill off these guys, but maybe that's our lot in life. Maybe we do end up having to push west. I was really hoping to claim some of this, like, easy, valuable land to our east. What about other people? We tried getting a non-aggression pact with Tilia already. We're still waiting for relations to tick upward with these guys before they'll take a trade agreement. I don't want to negotiate non-aggression pacts with any of the Tomb Kings because I do not feel confident that I will not attack them. Yeah, alright, I guess this is where we are for right now. Alright, let's take care of some other business. Very first thing, Tiktaq'to needs to drop a unit from his army so that he can recruit that Carnosaur, because obviously we should have a Carnosaur. I'm inclined to say that it's probably like a Javelin Skink cohort. I think this is the worst unit in this army right now. Let's just grab ourselves a Blessed Carnosaur. Look at the size of him. 100 speed. For reference, our very fast Cold One Riders only have 66 speed. This thing is like a race car. It's like a giant race car with teeth. I'm very excited about the prospects on that. Alright, we definitely have to move towards Zandri. Can we maybe not trespass? There we go. Head over here and get in defense mode on Zandri. You are just trying to catch up. It's going to be a moment before he can, but once he does that, we'll be pushing forward our Mask of the Heavens quest. And then, since relations with Baron Thagan are not solidified, we might have to build a garrison building in Bel Aliad. So yeah, upgrading its main settlement is definitely a priority. Glad we got the walls up at the Pools of Despair. Do we want to leave this skink recruitment building here? I think the answer is no. While it might be nice to be able to recruit stuff in this province, if we want to recruit stuff here, I don't think it's skinks. So let's demolish that, and if we'll replace it with like either a flyer recruitment building or a Saurus recruitment building, probably. I don't really want to have to build a lot of recruitment stuff in the Great Desert, but until we can solidify the areas around it, we may have to, temporarily. Okay, and with that, I think we're good to go. Is taxation on everywhere else? Did I remember to turn it on? Yeah, okay. Let us see what the Knights of Origo do. I'm assuming that they're going to, now that they've seen that they can't, or maybe they haven't yet, but in a moment when they see that they can't take the port with just their dinky little army here, that they're going to bring forward the other army that we saw they are building at their capital. We've gotten a lot of value already out of just sending out that scout hero. Even just in terms of knowing a little bit of what's happening beyond our borders, it's been very useful. I don't know who in the army we're going to get rid of to make room for the priest. It's kind of a strangely constructed army at the moment. And it's like, it's getting lower and lower on troops that can hold the ground, and maybe that's not so necessary. I'm in a very, like, dwarfy mindset pretty much always when playing this game. Like, okay, we need our heavy infantry, somebody's got to be able to hold the ground, and then we can do fancy stuff around the heavy infantry. But maybe that's not how you play Lizard Men. At least, maybe not anymore. The red-crested skinks seem to be doing an okay job of fighting the sorts of things that we're facing now, but when other races start getting their actual infantry, when we're not seeing, like, the lowest Tier 1 garbage, I have a feeling the red-crested skinks are not going to be tough enough to hold out in combat for very long. So our relationship with Tilia is slightly deteriorating. We had to do something that's going to make them like us. I don't know what that would be. Were they at war with Sartosa? Maybe what we should do is send an army to Sartosa after we resolve the Knights of Origo problem. Because we have to take Sartosa to win the game anyway. And if doing that will get us in good with Tilia and earn us a trading partner, then that's just double value. See, like, even if this orc faction were to come after us, I would be pretty unhappy about our skink-heavy ground composition. Because the basic orcish troops are tough enough and killy enough. What do they want? Oh, interesting. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll take peace. Because we don't really need their land right away, their tiny little settlement. And not being at war with them frees us up to focus on other things. Oh, and now Baron Thagan's coming to me with a non-aggression pact? No, very much the opposite. He's coming to me with an aggression pact. And he's going to call in his allies, the Knights of the Flame. Okay, well, now we're at war with those guys. So that's gonna change some things. Ooh, Baron Thagan has, like, some real units here. He's got some men-at-arms and some knights. And he's marching on Bel Aliad with just maximum, absolute maximum speed there. Well, the good news is we have exactly enough movement to get back to Bel Aliad. We know that. The bad news is we're going to have a hard time defending Bel Aliad and Xandria at the same time. Yeah, that's tricky. This latest spawning of Saurus warriors appear to be far more belligerent than any you remember in recent times. Ferocity and resolve are called for when combating the foe, but your forces must also consider the Great Plan's higher purpose, and not sacrifice themselves unduly. Will you embrace their vicious nature, or order retraining for a more balanced army? Okay, so we're going to get melee defense or melee attack up on a lot of people. I think we're a very melee attack-focused army. Also, somebody's leveling up. Alright, so we're not expecting to be facing a lot of missile troops yet. Like, winning battles is the most important thing. It was pointed out in the comments of the last episode that I talk about liking casualty replenishment, but that I'm taking combat skills instead of points of casualty replenishment on our hero. And so to clarify sort of like my priorities here, winning battles is the most important thing. You can avoid needing a lot of casualty replenishment by just winning the battle harder. Then after that, casualty replenishment's important, and then other stuff, and actually probably campaign movement is above any of those. So I'm more inclined to take skills that make us fight better, and in particular buffing up our Skink Chief to make him better at hunting down enemy characters, I think is really useful, because cutting the head off an enemy army can really screw up their stuff. But I'm looking at these, and they are maybe a little bit... He's not really getting into melee. He doesn't charge people that much. Speed is valuable, but he's probably... Yeah, at 98 speed, he's already faster than enemy characters are going to be. He doesn't run out of ammunition. He doesn't need melee weapon strength. And this is just going to make him better at surviving, not better at killing. So maybe we do want to have him fall back? Fall back and take blue line stuff? Like, he got his missile damage up. That was valuable. I'm not sure. I think that everything that's left in the yellow line from here is going to have pretty marginal effect until he starts engaging in melee combat more, which may happen when he hits like Stegodon or Ancient Stegodon level. We might swap him to a ground fighter. So we could also take a passive income boost for his local region. It's not usually going to be the case that Tiktaq'to's army is sitting at home, but it has been a lot so far just because that's how the early game is. There's also definitely something to be said for like taking Assassinate or Damage Walls and having Roxburgh here be able to jump out of the army briefly to set up some good sabotage before rejoining. And our troop replenishment rate so far has been pretty sufficient. Let's take the points of replenishment for now, though. How many levels is it until he can swap down to a big mount at level 18? So by the time he does that, it might be a good idea to have some of this better at melee combat type stuff. But I think that gives us enough time to take all of the it gives us enough time to take all of the replenishment rate upgrades. So I think we just go back into Bel Aliad and make it so he can't attack it without fighting our whole army, which is not gonna be great for him. Now we have a significant numerical advantage. He has some real troops here, though. These Knights Errant are not bad. What he does not have is ranged units. He also has Knights of the Realm, who are specifically good against, like, dinosaurs and stuff. Chargy horses with lances are going to tend to be anti-large. The Knights Errant aren't, but we're going to see that a lot from cavalry units. Alright, Bel Aliad cannot begin to construct skink lookouts. Oh, what it can build is the gold mining pit. Yeah, let's do that instead of putting a recruitment structure up here, I think. Because gold is very good. I probably don't have to explain that one. And then we have room. The chief can join up. I guess we could kick out a unit of skirmishers. Maybe that's the thing to do, because these guys are definitely the least good of our ranged troops, and if I'm concerned about not having enough bodies on the ground to hold off, say, like, to keep cavalry charges out of the salamanders and stuff, I don't really want to get rid of red-crested skinks or even the other unit of javelins. This seems like a thing that can afford to be dropped. A thing that we can afford to drop. Alright, get in there. And that has given us another 1,500 gold. Oh, we've reached the end of the quest line. The skink priest immediately feels a disturbance in the area. He had no need to use the winds of magic after all, for he was able to instinctively feel the damage to the geomantic web. Whether intentionally or not, the foul rat spawn must have desecrated the lost temple ruins of this place, probably while searching for their damnable warpstone deposits. Only something like that could have caused such a local disruption to the web, in turn explaining the weakening of the blessings upon Tiktaq'to's Mask of Heavens. Now he has acquired this knowledge, there is little else to be done but head to the temple and slaughter every last one of the blasphemous Skaven spawn with extreme prejudice. If we do this, we'll get our mask back. Big campaign movement range buff. It makes him... Perfect Vigor makes him completely unable to get tired. And a buff for all flying units, increasing their armor and melee defense. That's pretty cool. That is a nice piece of gear. So we're going to have to fight a quest battle against a very weak Skaven force, although they do have a Plague Claw catapult, but they're going to have lots of reinforcements show up. That is a thing that we will totally do just as soon as we can spare the army for a turn. Alright, let's keep sailing along the coast. There is another human kingdom over here that is good at trading. Or maybe there isn't, because that is definitely their capital, or what used to be their capital. I'm going to assume that Skaven happened here, because I'm pretty sure there's a Skaven settlement, like, right there. Well, maybe if we sailed north and fought Skaven for a while, that would probably make everybody over there like us. And do we have any other changes to make? We're 6 turns off of being able to start upgrading Xandri's main settlement building, and then another 3 or 4 turns after that before we can upgrade to actual walls here. So Xandri is still a little bit fragile, which makes me nervous. We could spend money upgrading our money-making structures. At this point, we can probably turn on taxation, because it looks like we're going to have Tic-Tac-Toe sit here for a moment. Yeah, we probably just are, like, upgrading our money-making structures, right? Is there anything else of value we could do here? Not really. Alright, let's just plow money into making money. Actually, there's some chance that I'll want to remove some of the stuff in Tiktaq'to to build advanced technological buildings. Could we... We cannot upgrade. Alright, well... I guess this is what we'll do. Let's spend some money increasing our ability to make money, and then let's see what the Bretonnians want to do. I think they would definitely lose this fight. I guess we'll see if they feel the same way about it. I am glad we got peace from the Knights of Origo, though. It would have been annoying to have them bring their second army forward to challenge Zandri while we're still dealing with this. Turns out you cannot trust the Bretonnians to do anything other than crusade endlessly. Yep, and there's that Skaven army moving into their settlement hidden below Magrita. Well, that's going to be a problem for us in the future. It is not good for us to have a powerful Skaven nation so close to our borders. The good news is we seem to be very good at fighting them. My experience with the Skaven, when we played the Skrulk campaign way back when the game came out, was that fighting lizardmen is a completely miserable experience, so I'm happy to be on the other side of that for a change. So if we go after Thagan's errantry, we can take the coast of Araby provinces from them. This region that they have in the Adelan Mountains, we might want to just raise. Unfortunately, there's no way to trade land with friendly players, so if we were to take this over, we couldn't just give it to the dwarves. They'll always be weaker and worse at making money for them not having it, and we'll always have to deal with this one single region that we can't connect to the rest of its province. So I think it's entirely possible that just burning it and letting the dwarves resettle it would be the way to go. We definitely have to take it out of Bretonnian hands, but I don't necessarily want to administer it myself. But we can take all of the land west of them as well. I'm not wild about having control of the western coast, because that means we have to watch out for invaders sailing over from the west, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Like, we can defend ourselves. I just don't want to have to. Alright, so Baron Thagan falls back to Martek. Yeah, Zandri having an expanded garrison is definitely helpful here. If it didn't have an 11-unit garrison, that army would be sufficient to ride over and take it, and so we wouldn't be able to go very far. But I think we might want to actually try to push over and just fight them at Martek. And there are some big things in the ocean. Right, we've completed our sequence of the Artisan, and Tiktaq'to, by spending multiple turns in settlements with low public order, has become strict, which is increasing public order. That's fine. It's not, like, super exciting. Alright, let's start with this thing. We know roughly what we're going to do here. And Scryer. Alright, well, it looks like it's going to be a couple of turns before we can meet any more players. There's a whole island full of high elf nations over here who presumably are sort of on the same side we are. We have a lot of common enemies, so it's possible we'll be able to make friends with them and get some good trading going. I think we're starting on the Tablet of War, right? Because I want to get to the sequence of marching. So we cannot attack Martek this turn. What we can do is try to do another ambush move. Maybe, like, stay within our own province here for maximum safety. This way, like, if we fight an ambush battle, because we get our replenishment boost at the beginning of our turn, if we fight an ambush battle, we'll get some recovery immediately before we have to move anywhere else. Just go into ambush mode, hope he loses sight of us, and so he thinks it's safe to march to Bel Aliad. And then, what are we doing in the backfield? We are 1 turn away from having... Okay, so we probably should not spend any money this turn, because I want to have the money to buy some cool stuff here once we open up some more settlement slots. Which means we really have nothing to do. How far away are we from being able to double move again? 14 turns? Okay. And if we were to save up enough money, we could get a sweet army of dinosaurs. It is worth noting, though, that we're going to have to pay the upkeep for the sweet army of dinosaurs afterwards. So this is like not a one-time cost. This is an expensive right in the long term. And once we build a star chamber, we can recruit a Slan Mage Priest to lead our second army, which is something I think I'm pretty into, because we haven't really gotten to use any magic at all. I would like to fix that. Alright, let's see if the Bretonnians fall for this. See, it would be dishonorable to ambush people. So maybe because they wouldn't do it, they won't even think about it. Just never even crosses their mind that an ambush could occur. I know, it's a little bit of a long shot, but there's significant value, and this is not just a Total War Warhammer thing, this is true in any competitive strategic game. There is value in giving your opponent a chance to do something stupid. Give them the opportunity to screw up, because not even the best players in the world play optimally all the time. Everybody makes errors. If you give your opponent room to make errors, you'll be surprised by how often they make them. And again, we're not exactly talking about the finest competitors in the world here. The Total War Warhammer 2 AI still has some exploitable decision-making, still has some, I would describe them as errors in judgment. I think if our ambush holds, they don't see through it, I think there's like a really high chance this will work. And if our ambush doesn't hold, I doubt they'll ride out, because I don't think that their army can defeat our army straight up. I guess we will see in just a moment here, though. I'm a little worried about all the cavalry. I think we're going to have a hard time keeping the cavalry from getting very effective charges off. Our red-crested skinks, being low mass and kind of bad at defending themselves, good at killing, but bad at defending themselves, are probably going to be very vulnerable to cavalry pushes, and the salamanders will do terribly. This is definitely the time where we need to start recruiting like some sauruses and stuff. We need to have some heavy ground troops who can do stuff like wall off a charge. And sauruses with spears and shields are extremely tough. Oh, ambush foiled. They see through it. Man, what was our ambush success chance there? It was well over 100%, right? I mean, they have some modifiers to their chance to see us, I'm sure. So it wouldn't actually... The final value would not be over 100%, but it's probably just like really bad luck that we got found out there. Well, let's see if it looks reasonable to just attack the settlement anyway, because it might be the case that we could do that. Order the pool keepers to scatter the seeds. The spawning spools must begin gestation. If we recruit a lord in the next 6 turns, we'll get a small recruitment buff for a very short time. I don't care about that too much. They are actively recruiting. Martek has a 10-unit garrison. So, actually, this would be... Ooh, yeah, some of those units are actually good, too. So we'd be fighting 27 of their units? That seems maybe not a thing we should do. Alright, let's sail up the coast one more turn, and then we'll head across to Ulthuan. Oh, hey. Estalia yet lives. They've been pushed out of their capital, but they do still exist. Also, we've met Carcassonne.
Let them speak.
Let's just get non-aggression pacts with absolutely everyone who will take them.
Naturally.
Okay, cool, great. Start establishing those positive diplomatic connections. Apparently at some point here we met Clan England.
I stand strong behind the shield of defiance. Speak.
They'll do it for 300 gold. You know what?
Fine.
I'm okay with that. That is absolutely fine. Who else? Obviously Clan Scryer is not going to be friends with us.
Greetings. We may not be the Empire.
Right.
Alright, we're establishing some baselines here. So we're going to end up at positive relations with all these people due to our positive treaties. Apparently, Carcassonne and Astalia don't get along too well. That's probably not a big deal.
We may not be the Empire.
Okay, they're still definitely not going to do that. And I still don't actually want to make friends with any of you guys. Much more comfortable being friends with people who are very distant from us. Alright. Yeah, next turn we'll sail this way. We'll meet some high elves. Hopefully, at some point soon, somebody will be willing to trade with us. But this is a long process that we had to get started. I am definitely thinking we need to do... hold on a second. Hold on a moment. What do we want to build in Tlaq'to? Now that Tlaq'to is tier 4 and we have a bunch of spaces open, we can start building some of these fancy technology buildings. What do we have here? The Beast Lair that'll let us pull some types of dinosaurs. Oh wow, that Feral Carnosaur that we have a blessed version of is a tier 5 unit. That's really lucky, I think. So we could go Beast Lair. We could go toward the Shrine of the Old Ones, which would unlock Skink Priests, and a Bastillodon with a solar engine mounted on its back. That's pretty exciting. Also, a public order boost, an income boost to all the buildings in this region. And we're going to need these big buildings eventually. What does it take to unlock the middle part of our tech tree? We need a scrying pool, a Shrine of the Old Ones, and a geomantic pylon. Okay, this will let us make guys who have better weapons. This also lets us recruit skink priests. That's okay. Why do we have 2 buildings that do that? Income from post-battle loot up. This does give us different things to mount on our Bastillodons. A revivification crystal sounds pretty alright. Oh, that's a star chamber. That's how we get Slan. I'm inclined to go after this. I would really like to have a Slan Mage Priest. So we need... Okay, we also need a scrying pool. We also need a geomantic pylon. If we start construction of this geomantic pylon now, we'll be able to build the Slan building next turn, thanks to our pretty decent income. I think that's going to be the plan. Okay, and our Lord has not moved. So, we know that Baron Thagan cannot reach Bel Aliad in 1 turn's movement. I'm wondering if maybe this would be a good time to do our quest battle. We could do the quest battle by moving over to the marker. Obviously, that takes us pretty far out of the way. But you can also just teleport the Lord's army to the site of the quest battle at a cost of 500 gold. And while 500 gold, you might be noting, the cost of 500 gold will make it so that we can't afford to build the Slan building next turn. Remember that if we are successful at the battle, we'll make money. We'll win loot. I kind of want to go for this. So let's move Tiktaq'to back a little bit. I'm not sure if teleporting is going to remove all his points of movement or not. I think there's a chance that it will. But when we do this, we'll teleport just for the battle, and then we'll be teleported back to where we were standing when we hit the button. Alright, let's try this. Quest battles are sometimes difficult, but we have a pretty big advantage here. This Blessed Carnosaur is awesome. I think our units are actually pretty good for fighting Skaven. I'm much more confident with our ability to kill Skaven than I am with our ability to kill Bretonnians at this moment. Okay, so we do get to actually see what the reinforcements are. So they have a Plague Claw Catapult and some Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres are a weird sort of like monstrous infantry / shock cavalry. Like their stats, you notice, 26 melee attack, 26 melee defense, are not actually very good for just standing and fighting. You want to like be charging people with them over and over again. I don't think they'll be terribly good against our army. We don't have a lot of spears, I'll say that. We don't have a lot of units that have anti-large. The first reinforcement force is going to bring their own Plague Claw Catapults. Catapults are dangerous. Plague Claw Catapults are one of the best artillery units in the game, in my opinion. But we do have a lot of flying stuff. And between the lot of these armies, they don't have even a single ranged unit. Ooh, these are a ranged unit. These are new. I don't know what these are. Warplock Jezzails. Armor-piercing missiles with considerable range that destroy shields and... Okay. Alright, I'm confident we can handle it. Who wants the Gleaming Pennant? I'm going to put it on the big dinosaur. Because I think we're going to be asking the big dinosaur to charge by himself into some places where he is not particularly well defended, and I want to avoid him panicking. Although, actually, he has Rampage. So sometimes he's just going to freak out and try to eat everybody. He doesn't need leadership while he's rampaging. He can handle that. Maybe the leadership just goes on one of our melee units. We'll give it to the lowest leadership melee unit, because leadership is one of the things that goes up as you level. Yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. Let's go win ourselves a Mask of the Heavens, or rather, re-empower our current Mask of the Heavens, which is a very fine mask. I think there's a chance that this battle is going to wound us badly enough that we are going to that we're going to have a hard time fighting Thagan's infantry, which is part of the reason I wanted to fall back before the battle. In case fighting the battle does remove all of our movement, I want to be in a place where he's not going to be able to sweep in and just wipe us out. And we have enough replenishment that we should recover pretty quickly afterward. Using his aerial mobility, Tiktaq'to has successfully tracked a large Skaven presence to a temple location where the geomantic web is emanating clear signs of deterioration. That reminds me, we need to pay attention to how the geomantic web is advanced. I know the geomantic pylon that we're currently building said something about it.
Retoklo battle. Gore tax triataxa shini. Fizax la cartrolo. Lot shilimato.
Alright, the fact that they got no ranged units to start with at all gives us a pretty clear battle plan. It is a little bit of a shame that we don't get to set up our units the way I would like, but all of the flyers, oh, including a new guy, the wizard flies, right? Let's just get over here, and we'll figure everything else out once we get over there. I mean, we probably want to charge them pretty hard, right? How fast are rat ogres? 60. Okay. So our cavalry can outrun them. I'm going to have the Blessed Carnosaur and this guy press up. So once we start doing well, we're going to expect to see those reinforcements come in, right? And the Cold Wind Riders started all the way over here. Maybe we want to go around the pit that leads down into the Skaven Undercity. I gotta say, this battle map looks really cool. They did some fine work here. Yeah, we'll bring the cold ones around the side. They have some guys with spears, but these are Skaven slaves. They're incredibly bad at fighting, so I'm not too worried about their anti-large. I'm excited to see the Carnosaur in action. And then we need everybody else to just kind of move up, right? They have the ranged advantage here because of their catapults, so it behooves us to close the distance and murder the hell out of them quickly. Will that be close enough? Yeah, that's probably close enough. Alright, I think everybody has orders. Let's do it. So what is our guy has... Yeah, that's bad. Catapult is bad. Our guy just has the ability to buff weapon damage and armor. That should be sufficient for now. Oh man, look at the claws on those feet. Okay, the good news about the Skaven artillery is that when Skaven artillery are low level, they're very inaccurate. They have serious accuracy issues. So I'm going to have this first unit run forward and rock drop over here. We'll just clear out as many of the clan rats as we can, and then we're going to turn around and murder the catapults. And you guys should get on the murdering of the catapults directly. Our skink chief will start in on their Gracier if we were to break their commander. it would be super good. Alright, let's get rid of these catapults. And we might not drop everybody's rocks right away. We might save some of the rocks for the reinforcements. Alright, let's see what this looks like. Jesus. Did you see just like the explosion of blood there? So this green effect you're seeing on the Skaven is Bless with Filth. This is a spell that the Grey Seers can cast that it puts basically it makes it so that when they attack my unit, they debuff it with all kinds of gross poison-y type effects. But it's not actually poison, which means that it stacks with proper poison. Let's have the Salamanders try to take out the Rat Ogres quickly. Salamander shots are anti-large, remember. The Skirmishers can also start in on the Rat Ogres. Let's power down that charge. And then... These are Skaven Slaves. These are Skaven Slaves. Okay, so we're going to beat them in combat. Or we're going to beat them in melee combat pretty handily. Rock dropping on the artillery crews might be a waste because they're so spread out. But actually, individual character rocks can be dropped with a pretty high degree of precision. Let's get Tiktaq'to to rock right in the middle of these guys. Nope, that didn't work. Alright, I think it's safe for him to just get down there and do the thing. The Rat Ogres are already starting to panic a little bit. I did not plan for how much worse the red-crested skinks are at running than the skirmishers. They're, like, really a lot slower. Okay, so that's under control. That looks pretty under control. I assume the Carnosaur is having just a wonderful time. He's just, yeah, time of his life. Look at him. Where's his face? Have you ever seen anyone happier? Looks like we're done with the catapult crew. They are permanently broken, so... Fire Leech Bolas on... You probably shouldn't fire directly at the Carnosaur. Let's have one unit of Fire Leech Bolas follow those dudes. Just keep them running. Alright, you definitely are on your thing. We gotta be careful with these Fire Leech Bolas. This is basically, like, my main concern is not accidentally killing Tiktaq'to. We can have the normal guys just come over here and help us win some of this stuff. Not you. You and you. I might even have these units of Fire Leech Bolas just back off and wait. So as to preserve ammo, because they don't have a ton of ammunition. Yeah, it might be a good idea to wait for the other enemies to show up. And I'm going to keep the Cold One Riders over here, actually. I was going to bring them around for a charge, but it looks like it will be extremely unnecessary to do that. Our army is extremely cool. Got a break there. Enemy reinforcements have surrounded. Have arrived. Trying to surround us. I think that message may have played early. They have not actually arrived yet. We keep an eye out for them. Okay, there we go. Ah, and those two reinforcement armies are coming in at the same time. Interesting. Alright, well, I think we want the cold ones to just kind of get over here. Clan Rat's spears are a little bit more capable of fighting large enemies, so let's be wary of them. I'm going to command group these guys together. Let's head over here and drop some of the rocks, and that's happening so far away from us that I don't know that we need to respond to it immediately. Then again, we know they're going to be bringing a catapult in over there. I'm going to have this unit of Fire Leech Bolas head in that direction. I guess maybe Tiktaq'to should as well. We should kill their lord, I guess. I'm just thinking, like, we don't know which one of these sides those Jezzails are going to come in on. And I want to be in a position where we could potentially fight them. Oh, my poor red-crested skinks. Hey, guys. Don't get killed by fire explosions. And then, you know, charge. Actually, charge over here. Yeah. My one regret here is that we do not have a lot of time to watch the Carnosaur work, because this is kind of like a busy battle. So what are we doing with the normal Pterodon Riders, then? Because I think we could probably We can probably send all of the flyers off to the enemy reinforcements. I don't think any of them are necessary for continuing to mop up here. For all of the normal pterodon units, our flying characters can stay over here. And that way we have rocks available for the other sides. Nope, no. Run away from the explosions. You gotta admire their bravery. There's an awful lot of enemies over here that are only temporarily fleeing. Fix that. There they go. They're back to normal fleeing. Okay. Well, there's those Warplock Jezzails. What is a Jezzail? This is not a thing I'm familiar with. Oh my. Okay, so it's like it's a little Skaven with a shield acting as a stand for a very long rifle. Okay, that's a cool unit. It seems like they'll be pretty vulnerable to a cavalry charge. And I said that I'm not wild about using the rocks on these guys, but I think it's way more important to bring down these catapults quickly than it is to fight any of the clan rats and stuff. Okay, so they're debuffed. They're taking additional fire damage. Are the enemy units over on this side actually set up yet? I think those catapults may be shooting at our pterodon riders. I don't know how they think that's going to work. Alright, we got to keep an eye on that side of the battle. Let's real quickly here make sure everything is still going well. Alright, those guys are totally broken. Let's keep one unit of red-crested skinks on each of the guys who are temporarily fleeing. Their lord is alive, which is a problem for me. Help with that. And we don't really have a good use for his spellcast. I guess we could send him somewhere to have him drop his rock. We should probably take, like, the other melee units over here who do not need to be fighting these guys who are still fleeing and have them set up to take on these dudes. And that's probably, we can take all of the blowgun units, right? Yeah, none of them need to go the other way, I don't think. We'll grab the salamanders and head them this way as well. I think we're going to use a force entirely composed of flyers to deal with the other side of the battle. Get them. The good news about them being right on the edge of the map here is that if we cause them to break, they'll immediately leave the battle. So we won't have to worry too much about their replenishment. Or, not about the replenishment, about them recovering. Ooh, we should maybe move. We're starting to get involved with a lot more. A Rattling Gun Weapons team, huh? And also Gutter Runners. We were not told all of the reinforcements. The situation was misrepresented to us. Alright, so we're trying to kill their lord. Get over here and make sure that we are doing this. You guys should probably come over here and fight from that side. We don't really want to fight from right in front of them. Like, we want them to have to turn if they want to shoot at us. I think what you're seeing here with the low leadership and the injury is that we actually got hit by a catapult projectile. Okay, so that should deal with that pretty soon. We're just going to ignore this force. I'm going to move all of my guys away from them. Okay, so one of them was chased off the map. The other one is now permanently broken, and we can ignore them. Get back over here. We are going to need you. Yep, their lord is fleeing in this direction, which is just like a super annoying thing for him to do. For some reason, Tiktaq'to decided he was done with my orders. Alright, it looks like we're going to be doing some actual real fighting over here. We are going to probably need your spellcasting abilities. So the catapult crews have run off. I think, yeah, this is them over here, what remains of them. So good job, everybody. Do we have... Yes, we do have rocks left. Actually, you know what? We had to come over here. Look at how densely packed these enemies are. Yeah, that's beautiful. You guys got to keep running. Alright, we're coming. We're getting in here. So who is most important to pick off on this side? Like, where do we send the Carnosaur? What do we do with the flying units? I sent my Salamanders in after their Warlock Engineer, thinking we could eliminate him quickly, keep him pinned to the ground with the explosions. But he is a huge coward. So we have to figure out a slightly different plan. Also, man, yeah, the clan rats with the spears actually are able to fight our knights pretty effectively. Knights. Able to fight our guys on the backs of raptors pretty effectively. That rattling gun weapons team seems pretty bad. I know what a rattling gun is. We don't want a lot of that occurring. Yeah. Where's one who's not like in? There we go. That's a rattling gun. It's a minigun. It's the kind of thing that you would normally mount on a helicopter, powered by Skaven warpstone tech. And if you're not familiar with what warpstone is, it's sort of like if you had methamphetamine and uranium at the same time. That's warpstone. I'll check this dude out. What has he got? He's riding like a little doom wheel kind of thing. That's neat. Probably shouldn't be in my salamanders. That's a problem. Let's have the salamanders reposition slightly. Okay, so you guys are doing a thing. Oh, those are storm vermin. Yeah, the game elected not to tell us about units that are way more dangerous than the ones that it did tell us about. What about on this side? On this side where we... Okay, this army was pretty faithfully represented. So the weapons crew on this side is broken. Let's have Fire Leech Bolas on the spears. Ooh, no, Fire Leech Bolas on the Plague Monks. These units are actually pretty capable of fighting, but they are not very... they're not armored or anything. They're just wearing gross Skaven rags. I bet they smell terrible. And over here we have just some rat ogres. Okay, yes, these weapons teams are going to have to get dealt with. This is a high priority. I think we were shooting at gutter runners and stuff, and like the flyers are definitely under threat from the gutter runners. But I'm assuming a rattling gun has a serious chance of just killing my entire army. Let's go ahead and start casting spells. And buff these guys up so they get some armor. Sword and shield storm vermin are very tough. Where's the thing here? They're very tough, but they're not actually very good at killing. You can see they have a pretty low weapon strength. Pretty high melee attack and defense, though. I am hopeful that the red-crested skinks with the buff can just hold out for a minute, but we're going to also drop some rocks on them. Yeah, rattling gunfire into the... That's bad. Where's Tiktaq'to? Tiktaq'to should get over here and help. What are these? Oh, I think these projectiles are things that the gutter runners fired that have missed. The Carnosaur is probably going to need to get into that. That's got to be his deal. The Salamanders probably need to turn and fight the Rat Ogres. Oh, that's what Tiktaq'to was trying to get this Warlock Master out of our troops. Out of our Salamanders. Well, that's a shame. You're probably not going to be successful there. We could definitely bring up these guys a little bit. Like we need to get blowguns into positions where they can be affecting the storm vermin. So we're gonna have a really hard time killing these storm vermin any other way. And of our characters, who still has rocks? We are definitely gonna need some more rocks. Alright. The Carnosaur will solve the problem. Yep. He broke them instantly and then they run right off the map. Beautiful. Gutter runners next. This Carnosaur might be the best thing that's ever happened to us. This Carnosaur might be the best thing that's ever happened to me in any game of Total War ever. Alright, where is their Warlock Master still needs to get fought. And we need to pull our Salamanders back. I can't seem to get them, like, their lord is weirdly sticky. I had definitely ordered these Salamanders to move out, but they're just not interested in doing so for some reason. Okay, you guys are no longer being pursued. I want to put them back in a charging position. Those are just normal clan rats. We can let them run. If they unbreak and come back in, it's not going to be a big deal. Get some of these guys into reinforcing positions on this side. And we are continuing to... yeah, we're doing some okay work over here. Are there any rocks left on these guys? Because if there are, we should drop them now. Okay, yeah, let's get that done real quick. Because the enemy units are all running kind of together. Why does that one guy feel like he doesn't need to follow orders? Okay, that force is pretty much dead. Let's charge these guys in the back. Hey, Salamanders, for real, disengage. Alright, we're just here to do this great big morale hit. And then... oh, they rampaged. I was going to pull them back. Oh, here comes the Warp Lightning. We're actually going to lose the... yeah, the Cold World Riders are dead. Okay, well, we're not that far from being able to make more. Carnosaur, on the other hand, is like... first of all, he's taken no damage. And secondly, he is definitely killing everything he touches, like, almost immediately. Forget that guy. Yeah, Carnosaur running around behind their lines is, like, going to be devastating for them. I'm making an assumption here. Hold on. Let's check that. 29 attack, 19 defense. Alright. I've been assuming that it's not a good idea to engage our Skink Priest directly in melee combat. Turns out, yeah, pretty solid. A fairly solid thought. Okay, those gutter runners need to get dealt with by somebody. You guys could just be shooting over here. You guys could spread out a little bit like that. Them from behind. I'm going to have the Pterodon Riders, I guess, start shooting down into the backs of the Storm Vermin. I mean, they're losing. We're getting them. Definitely stay on him. I want him permanently broken. Over here, this is where that other Salamander hunting pack went, and it's rampaging. Shoot. Well, the good news is, they're actually winning this battle. All the other units around here are terrified of them. Okay, so those guys are dead. Little bursts of Salamander fire seem to be really valuable. Gonna pull back out of the gutter runners. Alright, the dinosaur's rampaging, but he seems like he's gonna be okay. Yeah, he's doing alright. That's a rat ogre. One of those things he just hurled into the distance was a rat ogre. Okay. Let's pay attention to this now. So these guys are running out of ammo. They should just get back over here so that it's easy for me to keep track of them. The Blessed Pterodons are still doing fine work. Just keep shooting the Plague Monks. You stay on him. That's, I think, pretty reasonable, because he's going to keep running this way. It's not like this army's going to be able to trap our lord here. And I think the Salamanders should turn around at this point. Although, I did have them fighting these gutter runners. Maybe that's important to do. Let's have the skink cohort try to come up behind the gutter runners. This lord is a little bit of a problem. You guys are still pretty healthy. You could go fight him. These guys also go after that. You just fall back, but focus on the Warlock Engineer. Keep him poisoned at all times. At some point... Yeah, stay on them, chase them off the map. At some point, our Carnosaur will recover from his rampage and we'll be able to give him orders again. But until then, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to help us with this front. I don't really know what to do about that. Trying to get our wizard back over here so he can provide a little bit of a leadership buff. Okay, well the good news is the Carnosaur has decided to kill their lord, so maybe everything's going to be alright after all. Let's toughen up these guys. Alright. The salamanders have limited ammo, huh? I guess they can only hold so much of whatever it is that they make the fire out of in their bellies at any one time. So it looks like some of their units are already breaking. They haven't even started taking fire from the salamanders yet. This has definitely been more difficult than I was expecting due to the fact that we were not informed about all of the enemy units that were going to show up. Basically, who has ammo left? We really don't have control of very many of our flyers anymore. I think we're going to get... Yeah, we're going to get this character pushed off the map. The Carnosaur will eventually stop rampaging. It does happen. But if he kills that lord first, that's that's totally fine. It's an okay use of his time. Are you going to attack, or... Okay, they seem to be a little confused about their role here. Shoot fire at the enemies. Those guys are fleeing. So I guess you guys can come over here. Alright, Tiktaq'to chase that dude off the map. That's good. His new job is to kill this guy. And here comes the Carnosaur. He ran out of stuff to kill over there. You know what? Maybe it's fine if he just keeps rampaging forever. God, look at him. Look at the majesty of him. It's a little hard to see. Wow. It's a little hard to see what he's doing because there's a lot of poison and fire here. And I should probably tell the salamanders to not... you know, they're not shooting at him. They're shooting kind of to the side. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's all of their units. No, it's not. There's one unit. No, those guys are also retreating. Okay, we win. That was costly. But it was a battle against a pretty huge enemy force, so we're going to get... probably we're going to get a fair amount of money off of that. And the troops who survived are getting a lot of XP and stuff. It looks like we might have held on to these salamanders. At that little health, they might have scattered. But we might still have this unit. Cold Run Riders, I think, probably are not actually around anymore. Carnosaur got 164 kills, and just like... Those were 164 valuable kills, too. Red-Crested Skinks, turns out, just very effective murderers. But we're certainly not ready to fight Thigan's errantry right at this moment. So it'll take him a couple of turns to move to our nearest settlement, at the very least. We'll get to sit inside the settlement and get that good settlement replenishment. We do have a growth and replenishment building in this province. At least one. I think just one. I'm not sure exactly how long it'll take us to replenish. We may have to fall back and temporarily sacrifice that settlement. But to finish our legendary quest, to get that really good item, and to get the money we're going to make here... Well, that was alright, I guess. It probably was worth it. We should almost certainly kill and eat. So yeah, we lost the Cold One Riders, but everybody else stuck around. Definitely kill and eat. Okay, we gained more levels on our good attacker trait. So a lot of traits have multiple levels. You can see, like, there are 3 negative ones and 3 positive ones. We could level up good attacker one more time and get these bonuses even higher. Got 1,500 bonus XP for Tiktaq'to, in addition to the XP from the battle, and our very cool mask. Yeah, plus 10% campaign movement range for his army is super good. Okay, and they did keep their movement, so we can move them into the settlement and get the good replenishment. And now we have enough money to cancel this and instead build the Slan building. So this reinforces the geomantic web, indirectly improving our commandments. You may notice that our commandments have this little meter on the side. The geomantic web strength of the settlement tells you which version of the commandment you get. And you can see, like, it's pretty linear scale. Everything just gets better. So, Strength 2, owned and neutral settlements. Yes, all of our owned settlements are Strength 2. Strength 3 are settlements that have a geomantic pylon or are allied to us. So if we forged a proper alliance with these guys, it would strengthen the web. Then to get it up to 4, we need a spire, and up to 5, we need a locus. So if we build a geomantic pylon here, it'll let us have the level 3 version of the commandment then. A settlement must be linked to another of equal or higher strength if it is to operate at its maximum potential strength. Okay, so we have to we'd have to make the Black Tower of Archon level 3 and Tiktaq'to level 3 for either of them to get the benefit, but once we do that, they would both get it, right? Because then they're both linked to a settlement of equal strength. So then we need to build a geomantic pylon here too for this to be really valuable. So maybe we do just want to build the Slan building first. Because I really would like to get a second army going sometime soon. We're at like plus 3,000 gold per turn. That's getting into the neighborhood of being able to put together our second thing. And then we'll use this building slot for our geomantic pylon. Okay, so can we close? Yeah, let's close that. Tiktaq'to actually gained 2 levels there. So what do we want? It's probably the case that redline stuff is pretty good. Where's the redline skills that buff our flying units? It's melee attack and armor for Sauruses. Missile damage for skinks and salamanders. That's a pretty good skill for us. I do like those salamanders quite a bit. Weapon strength up for Pterodon riders, Ripperdactyl riders, and Cold One units. Speed and missile. Okay, that's obviously a very good skill for this army. This buffs Croxagores and Temple Guards. Those are heavy infantry units that we do not yet have access to. This just buffs the Feral Carnosaur, but man, that Feral Carnosaur. And this buffs the other dinosaurs. And then if we got enough points in there, we'd get Rally, which buffs up the leadership of units in range. And then the second red box is filled with very powerful single-point buffs for units that are rank 7 or above. We could also pursue this short personal yellow line. What does this do? Wow, plus 5 melee attack and plus 10 leadership on all of the units in the army as long as we initiated the battle is pretty bananas. And then big buff for him. Speed and physical resistance and ammunition up for all of our flyers. That seems very good. Recruit rank. Casualty. Wow, a huge boost to casualty replenishment for flyers. We got to get some of these Ripperdactyl dudes. We have the ability to produce them. We just haven't had time. And then capacity and recruitment rank up for Skink Chiefs, eventually leading to his own drop sphere being better. Alright, I think we want to get into this box and get at least some of this stuff. Like, we would definitely want Ares' Finest before we recruit too many more flyers so that we can benefit from that rank bonus. Okay, so do we want to right now try to recruit some Ripperdactyls? Because we could use the global recruitment pool for that. Oh, the global recruitment pool doubles recruitment time. So they are a two-turn recruitment unit normally. So they would take 4 to do this way. We definitely can't do that. But I should bring in something, because we need to refill a little bit here. Unfortunately, we lost a cavalry unit, and we cannot replace it directly. We could cancel... Well, we're not going to cancel the Slan building. So I guess for right now, we can just grab, like, a unit of javelins to help us hold the ground.
Tickle.
We'll sit here for 2 turns and heal and recruit. If he if he rides all the way forward, we may have to abandon this and fall back out of Bel Aliad. We'll see what he does. I'm hoping that the AI here chooses not to be aggressive. It would be pretty uncharacteristic for them. But also, it would be very helpful to me. See, I'm very much looking forward to having some Ripperdactyls, but we need to find a situation where we can afford to recruit them first. So, Skaven agents harassing Estalia. I wonder if this is Estalia's only settlement. They might be on the verge of getting pushed out of the game, but it looks like the Bretonnians might be coming to their rescue. We found out that Carcassonne and Estalia don't care for each other very much, but they both dislike the Skaven more. So hopefully they're working together to keep these guys under control. Yeah, I mean, it sure looks like she's headed over to fight Skaven. If they are not successful, what we're probably going to see by the time we're ready to move north is that this Skaven Empire here will have spread quite a bit, and they'll be a real pain in the ass to deal with. So, as much as I would love for our friends to survive, for the reason that it's good for us to have surviving friends, mostly it's because I don't want to be very inconvenienced later. Finding a huge Skaven Empire with their sort of hidden cities and their sneaky armies and their ability to ambush you all over the place can be really unpleasant. Once our army's a little tougher, like more dinosaurs and sauruses and stuff, the value of ambushes for the Skaven will go down a bit, because, like, Skaven troops are just not good at fighting sauruses. It doesn't really matter how they do it, they're just bad at it. So maybe it won't be a big deal. You know what I would really love to do, actually? If we could take the coast of Araby and make that a good recruitment region. Okay, Baron Thakin is going to leave us alone. Tristan the Saracen is headed to Zandri, but that army is not capable of taking Zandri. So yeah, we're going to get our couple of turns to put ourselves back together after the quest battle. It would be a good idea for us to push west and burn Martek right now if we can. And by right now, of course, I mean next turn. Just so that we don't have to worry about them recruiting a new army there. Like, that removes a direction that they can push us from. But we have to be sure that we can do it in a way that's not going to compromise the defensibility of the rest of our stuff. This is where having only a single army really gets crappy. Perform the Rite of Awakening. Lord Croak is one of the first generation of Slan mage priests, and possibly the eldest, making him one of the most powerful active creatures of any race. He has an added advantage, however, in that he is technically dead. Croak's mortal body was killed during the Great Catastrophe, but his remains were preserved by loyal skink attendants, enabling him to re-emerge as the first relic priest. Due to his death, Croak's meditative cycles are significantly longer than those of younger Slan. An elder Slan must be awakened to reveal his last known location, as, simply put, no one else is old enough to remember. Yeah, when you die, your meditative cycles do get very long. So we have to perform the Rite of Awakening. Which one is that? Is that the dinosaur one? Oh no, this one. Okay, yeah. We're already working on that. So Bel Aliad could get its walls up now. If we upgraded the gold mine, it's producing 300 gold and a trade resource for us. If we upgraded, it'll gain another 150 gold per turn. I think we probably have to prioritize getting the greater garrison. And then next turn we'll have the money to start building a geomantic pylon in both the western jungle, in both Tlaq'to and the Black Tower, which is probably a thing to do. Actually, does Sudenburg have room for it? It does not. And it's 8 turns off of being able to upgrade again. I don't think that we want to build it. Like, none of the stuff we could build here would actually be worth building right now. Alright, so next turn we'll be basically back in fighting condition. pretty much. We lost our Cold One Riders, which sucks, but the Carnosaur is way better. It's like a huge, huge upgrade. And we're producing money just as fast as we can. I guess we have to save this slot for the Geomantic Pylon, because we're not ready to upgrade the Black Tower yet. Alright, let's go meet some High Elves. There we go.
If what you seek is for the greater good, my sword is yours.
Man, minus 10 already, huh? Well, it looks like they might be willing to do a trade agreement. So they have some fancy elven trinkets, but we have dyes and also these weird golden idols.
Very well.
Okay, that's a couple hundred extra gold per turn. The trade agreements individually are going to be fairly small at this point, but they will get better. And also, if we make enough of them, they add up, right?
The Phoenix Throne will hear your plea.
Okay, they like Lothern, so we probably have gotten in good here.
A wise course.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so we have some trade stuff going on now. Will these guys consider... Nope, not yet. Improving toward 5, improving toward -7.
So,
Would they consider a non-aggression pact yet?
I don't agree.
Okay. I don't think we know anybody else we can trade with. Is the Dread Fleet okay with us? No, they hate us. Could I maybe get a non-aggression pact? Nope. I was hoping since we were, at 0. Nope, never mind. They caught up to their -59. The 0 was a display error, I guess. Okay, so now that we have a trade agreement, you can see the positive treaties modifier for this power is 25 points. So if you can get that initial non-aggression pact and trade agreement, it leads to you being much more likely to have a fruitful diplomatic relationship in the future. Alright, let's play one more sequence of enemy turns here and see what Thigan's errantry does. I'm pretty sure that army cannot beat Xandri. And we'll be ready to move soon. Oh, I'm probably going to have to turn up the animation speeds now that we can see a larger part of the world and we know more players. As you might imagine, with the number of players that are in this game, if we leave the default animation speeds on all game, as our vision expands, the enemy turn cycles are just going to get really slow. We can hit fast forward for now. If I'm wrong and we lose Xandri, that would be very disruptive. Like, Tiktaq'to is definitely going to have to full march towards Xandri next turn, which I guess does put us in kind of a dangerous position. Because it'll break all of our trade agreements, so we'll no longer have the ability to trade with anybody except the dwarves. It's probably not a big deal. As soon as we get the port, we can try to reestablish them. But I'm really reliant on the positive diplomatic modifiers from having these contracts to sort of set up the seeds for our long-term relationships, and so losing the contracts would be annoying in that sense. So when you're in Fast Forward, it doesn't show you the animations for factions that are not directly relevant to you, but it'll still zoom us over and watch Thigan's errantry armies move around. Unfortunately, the game, in my experience, the game's a little restrictive with what it decides is relevant for you to see, and so I don't usually want to play with Fast Forward on. I usually want to play with just the animation sped up, because I do like to know what's happening in the rest of the world. I'll do that before the next episode. A little bit of a tedious process, so I don't want to do it on camera. Alright. I assume Tristram the Saracen is going to... Interesting, he did actually attack. I assumed he was going to go over and encircle and wait for backup. Well, it looks like the auto-resolver would throw this battle to them. I don't think that that's what ought to happen here. Let's do this manually. We can defend the port. I feel fairly confident of that. He has cavalry, and they're, decent cavalry. They're not bad units. This is not like fighting the Skaven. But He doesn't have any ranged units at all, so our flyers still have a pretty significant advantage. And this garrison actually has Saurus warriors, including Saurus warriors with shields and spears. And we have a choke point that we get to use to minimize the effect of their cavalry, while they can't minimize the effect of my cavalry because it flies. It seems to me like it would be hard for them to win this battle. So we take the Sauruses and we stretch them across the bottleneck here, maybe even a little bit more. Alright, keep these guys nearby. So there's a battle timer. If the battle timer runs out, the defender basically is considered to have won the battle. Maybe I want the skirmishers to be in that position? The skirmishers have a short enough range that we couldn't, like, if I set them up over here, they won't be able to fire across the gap. Yeah, they're not real archers. We'll just set them up behind. You, on the other hand, are starting all the way forward. Alright, let's go wreak some havoc. So if they fail, basically, if they fail to kill us before the timer ends, then they don't get the settlement. So they are required to come to us. That was pretty alright. And now we'll just harass their flying units. You can see we're a little bit low on leadership because they are cowed a little bit by the speed and strength of our nearby enemies. Yes, okay, they are firing. It's just their projectiles are hard to see against the sand. So these are Sauruses. You can see this is a little bit more impressive looking of a lizard man than the skinks are. One of the big values of a spear infantry unit is that they have some level of charge defense. So remember, when a unit charges into another unit, it gets a bonus to its stats based on its charge bonus. If a unit has charge defense, the thing that charges into it just doesn't get the stat bonus at all. So that's going to remove a lot of the power of these like shock cavalry type units, and then also they're going to get mauled by our 15-point bonus versus large, which applies to both our melee attack and our weapon strength when fighting them. This is actually going to be really rough for them. And as they approach, I think we'll see a wave of javelins come out, so the poison will get on them as well. Think they can shoot over? Yep. So you can see, they're not getting quite the effect that we've seen from cavalry units previously. Try to move the cudgel Sauruses in along the side. But yeah, look at, like, their cavalry units are having a really tough time here. A lot of damage, and the flyers getting to huck garbage at them are certainly not helping their cause any. And anytime they fall back to try to get a good charge off, we're getting a bunch of poison projectiles in on them. Yeah, like, this is certainly not going to be a zero casualty thing for us, but we are clearly winning. It's tough for cavalry units to fight things that have spears, and Sauruses are just, like, uncommonly good at melee combat. Oh, they're getting in around the sides a little bit. Reinforce over here. Let's get even more blowgun darts. Okay, so we're breaking some of them. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the balance of power bar thought this was going to go in their favor. It probably doesn't take into account the terrain. Like, it doesn't actually, when you hit auto-resolve, it doesn't simulate the battle. It just does some math based on the numbers on the units. So I don't know that it considers favorable terrain in any way. Let's see if we can have you, with the very last of your ammo, re-break this extremely wounded unit of cavalry. And we'll try to get a wraparound on these guys who don't seem to think that they ought to give up. What we want is something like that. Never mind. Don't get charged in the backside. You guys try to fall back. Just keep shooting the poison at him. This is mostly about making them want to run away, because skirmishers are not going to actually deal meaningful damage, right? Okay. Seen a lot of panicking and breaking here. And they are getting our units. They're bringing us down. Gonna have the flying unit come in here and just try to... Oh, that guy's on horseback, right? We're not going to be able to do that thing that we like to do where we knock them over again and again to prevent them from actually engaging in combat, because units on horseback are a hell of a lot harder to knock down. He sees his entire army breaking in the distance. He's getting shot with so many blowgun darts. Yeah, you know what? This is a terrible idea. I'm going home. So that right there is the value of the expanded garrison building. Without that, our city garrisons are small. They don't have nearly as many ranged units. I'm pretty sure they don't have a flyer. And that flyer was very valuable. 51 kills. I don't know exactly how many of those were the rocks at the beginning of the battle, but it was significant for sure. But yeah, like this one unit of like actually good cavalry got 88 kills. We have to be careful about these Bretonnians. Especially if the cavalry are able to get in on skinks instead of being walled off by sources, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage to us. And I believe we'll make a little bit of money off of this victory as well. So we could heal up. The settlement garrison will automatically heal over time, but it won't heal instantly. So giving it a little kill and eat here could be valuable. I don't know if the garrison units can actually level up. I don't think they can. Or we could just ransom these dudes because money. And maybe not worry too much about the strength of the garrison, because if the garrison gets attacked again, like, if the garrison gets attacked by a real force, we have to be there to defend it anyway, and I'd like the 600 gold. Okay, interesting that the Baron Thagan did not come out toward us. I thought he was going to. Maybe his plan is to just play defense now. He got embarrassed and he's kind of in a bad position. He's just going to try to hold on to his land instead of riding forward and losing everything. Honestly, I don't think it's a bad plan. Also, I like that it means that I'm not in danger. So everything about that is good. The mystical Slan priests have devised a new ritual to increase the speed and agility of your mighty Saurus warriors on the battlefield. However, such advances always come at a price. Some of those who fall may rise corrupted, and the unliving are an abomination in the eyes of the old ones. We could employ the ritual to gain some significant boosts to our armies, but gain a point of vampiric corruption for 6 turns? That really doesn't seem like that much of a penalty. Yeah, employ the ritual. That sounds alright to me. Oh, our guy is getting... Our priest is leveling up here. So as he levels up, he's getting access to these better spells, and that is definitely what we want to focus on with him. He's gained the ability to overcast Wissen's wild form, making it an area effect ability instead of a single target ability, but giving it a 35% chance to miscast. A miscast spell still goes off, but like the magic overloads in the caster and does a bunch of damage to them, and you absolutely can kill a wizard by overcasting too many times in a battle. So we have to be a little careful of that. Alright, so where are we on... We're 3 turns off of getting this star chamber going. We have the money to set up both of the geomantic pylons. Let's say we want to do that. And then I think this is where we're going to hold for today. I'm not exactly sure what we want to do with Tiktaq'to's army. It's very nearly back in full fighting shape. And I sort of want to push to Martek. I wonder if... Because Bel Aliad's new garrison building isn't actually completed until the beginning of our next turn, I wonder if I stepped out of here and tried to go into ambush mode, if they would see this as a weak, undefended settlement and come after it. If we could catch Baron Thagon's army in the field, we could probably beat them. Our Carnosaur is absolutely terrifying, and there's a pretty good chance he would just carry us to victory there. We do need to get some proper Saurus spears, but that might work. It might be that they don't do anything at all, like they just play defense, and then we can take Martek, burn it down, and then but just focus everything on Alhaik, because at that point their attacks can only come from one direction. I don't know. We have some options. I'll think about it. But that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time for more Carnosaur Carnage, and we'll see you then.